Hello, my friends. Today I'm going to talk about Venus in Leo. She's been in the sign of Leo since June 5th. However, pretty soon she's going to retrograde, which will be on July 22nd, all the way to September 3rd. And then she finally leaves Leo in October, right? Let's talk about all of that and how we're going to use it. And some of the main focuses that is important for us to hone in on. All right, good. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen. I'm also going to remind you that, here, let me share my screen. There we are. And I just want to remind you as well that I have a full blog post about this, and I've posted that before this. So you can go read that at DorothyMorganAstrologer.com and just click on the blog link and the blog tab, and you can go check that out. Please join the website there too. All right. So this is the moment that Venus has entered the sign of Leo. Here it is. This was back on June 5th. Now, I mean, I'm loving it that Venus is in Leo anyways, because Venus enters the sign of Leo. It's in that sign once a year. And it's usually just for like a brief three weeks or so. Not like when she's retrograde. She is retrograde every 18 months, but there's only a few signs that she actually will make her retrogrades in throughout a very long cycle. It's an 8-year cycle. And so every 18 and a half, 19 months, she'll retrograde in a certain sign. And this time she's retrograding in that sign of Leo. So what we want to do here, and the way we pull this together, I'll do my best to keep this for the astrologers and the non-astrologers so you can all understand and get what's going on. We'll talk about Venus and what Venus represents, and then we'll talk about Leo and what that represents, how they work together, what we get to see with this, as well as what to expect during the retrograde phase. All right. So I'm, excuse me, I love it when Venus is in Leo, because we get to, we get to play and we get to have fun, and we get to hone in on what is it that we love, what is it that we value. It also Venus stirs up things that are love, value, beauty, creativity, social interactions. Venus is super feminine and super receptive, so that just represents an opportunity to be very social, right? So when Venus is in the sign of Leo, the Leo energy represents, what we're passionate about, what we enjoy. It's heart centeredness and connecting to what it is that we value and that we feel passionate about. Super, super fun, super important things to hone in on for you, for me, for what's going on in your life right now. Because, of course, this is very personal. We're able to see this out in the world and at large, but I want you to really focus on what's important for you. I personally, as a Gemini, it's important. I like to give us, you've noticed if you follow my channel much, that my content is mainly for how you and I can use what's going on astrologically to better our lives and to be a little more prepared for what is happening. I don't typically talk about national or global things, on occasion, but I mainly want to know how I can use it. Even when I listen to other astrologers, which I do, my point is, it's like, but what does that mean? Tell me what it means. I want to do that for you too. That's what I like to do. So while I'm sharing this screen, June 5th, I know this was a whole month ago from the time of this posting, but when Venus entered Leo, she immediately was in an opposition with Pluto by sign and degree. I like them to be by sign as well, two signs that have to be opposite each other. And so she was immediately infused, if you will, or Pluto gave her some marching orders, however you want to look at it. That tells me that as we begin this Venus in Leo phase, that lasts nearly 3 months, just over 3 months. Yeah, right. June, July, August, September. Sorry, 4 months. I can do the math. We have an opportunity to make and create a very deep change in our lives, really deep. And I don't have this set up. Let me just fix my display options here and make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Yes, I am. There we go. And it gives us this opportunity. We had this opportunity as she ingressed into Leo for to really go deep into the Venus qualities I just described and some of the Leo qualities I just described. And you can read those words over on my blog. But what we love, what we value, what we're passionate about. Is it about relationships? For some of us, it is. Yes, absolutely. And for others, what it can represent is a new infusion, if you will, of really doing heart-centered work. That's the Venus in Leo. Leo's about the heart. It's about what I value. Venus in Leo is like what I'm passionate about. So what I value, what I'm passionate about. Venus, what I love, what I'm creative about. That's Venus in Leo too. And having it when it first made its ingress opposite Pluto and squaring the lunar nodes, those guys are making a shift soon too. We'll talk about that in another video, but they're going to make a shift in just a couple of weeks in mid-July. In mid-July, they're going to make their shift. But right now, I just want to preface this, like the anchor and the tether of this Venus in Leo as she entered that sign was the opposition to Pluto and the square to the lunar nodes, which represent what is changing. What do I value? How is that evolving? It's a slow process. You may have aha moments, but it's also a slow process. And for the astrologers, so the mundane folks, hold on just a second. So we know Venus is the ruler of Taurus. So we're talking about Venus. So she's in charge of that north node, and Venus is opposite Pluto, and Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, the modern ruler. And so they're connected by sign, by planet, and then by the math. So we have this fixed grand cross that started off with Venus and Leo. It's just fascinating to me, super fascinating. And that is what we started with. And so with Venus, again, take some notes, with Venus associated with various aspects of our life, including love and beauty and what we value and how we're creative and how, what our preferences are, whether we might decide that we need a new look. That's Venus. Leo is like, all right, my hair's always frizzy. So, summertime it's frizzy. It's not always this frizzy, but Leo's the hair. So maybe, somebody or some of you will have, something to do there. I know it seems really simple, but these are the ways that we use these planets because that is everyday life. And how do we use this in a spiritual component? We doesn't have to be a spiritual component, but the main theme is creating and expressing through love. That's Leo. That's also Venus, valuing the people you love, what's important for you. Okay, so that's what that represents. And now we also have Venus, being in the sign that it's in. Venus also rules finances and money and what we value. So Venus is in charge of our money, our investments, and the things we personally value. So that does encompass material things and non-material things, because I truly, truly value, being out in nature and just enjoying those things. I just feel at one when I'm outside in nature, even when the bugs are coming after me, mosquitoes. They're a pain in the butt. The deer fly are worse than mosquitoes. The deer fly won't leave you alone. At least a mosquito, you can smack them and it can go away. I know, but that's the earthy stuff of what Venus loves and my earthy stuff of what Venus loves and what Venus is of value. Some of you might not like that, and that's okay, because that's your thing, not mine, right? My thing is not your thing, and I get that. And that's what we have to pay attention to. Where in my life, what is it that is what genuinely resonates with me when it comes to Venus in Leo. So here's a few examples that I've written out. I'm actually going to be reading my notes really quick. I can stop my share for a minute. Let me read my notes. Here's a few examples of what I've written out that you can actually address for yourself, right? And to help you hone in on what you value. So, for example, I value love in my relationships. These are friendships. They don't, I mean, if you're not in like a personal romantic relationship with somebody, that's fine. You don't have to be, but you can also recommend, I can also see, like my really dear friendships, my close friendships that I really spend time with people. That's love and relationships, what we value in that. That is something that will go deeper now. Venus started her trek through Leo, opposite Pluto, squaring the lunar nodes, meaning relationships are important to pay attention to. Other things that I find important, my health and my well-being. I know health and wellness isn't necessarily Venus or Leo, but if it's something you value, we should. When you're sick, you know how much you value feeling well. This, again, a list, not everything's going to resonate with you. Some of this will. Let me just go quicker now. Knowledge and learning, integrity and honesty, creativity and self-expression. That one very much resonates with Leo, Venus and Leo. So creativity and self-expression. Freedom and independence. Yeah, Leo likes it independent. Harmony and balance, that's Venus. Nature and the environment, that's my gig. Venus rules Taurus in the natural chart, so there's the environment. Personal growth, self-improvement. All of these things are just suggestions, but you can tell that, it's two things because we're dealing with, Venus in a sign, and we're also dealing with, as she moved into Leo, being opposite Pluto. It gives us that back and forth. And Venus rules relationships, especially, and again, what we love and what we value. And again, I say that a lot. Don't forget that Venus also has an awful lot to do with finances and money. Okay. Now, as Venus is working her magic through the sign of Leo, she's been there for a whole month now. You should be sort of in alignment with that area of your chart. I can't look at that for everybody here. So you will have to decipher that, or you know where to find me if you need my help. Now, we're going to explore the retrograde cycle too. So let me grab those charts and share my screen. See if I can get to that. It might not work. Let's see if this is working. Here's Venus retrograde. I want to make sure I'm sharing the right screen because sometimes I can't tell what comes up. Yes, that looks like the right one. Okay, fantastic. I just have my notes up, and you don't need to read my notes because if you want to read what I'm talking about, you can go to the blog. And I'd love you to do that. And if you're on my newsletter, you're going to get it in your inbox sometime in a couple of days. All right. Here's the day that Venus goes retrograde. This is July 22nd. So she's retrograde from July 22nd to September 3rd. She retrogrades at 28 degrees of Leo. And on September 3rd, I'll show you that chart next. She goes all the way back to 12 Leo. All right. And 12 Leo is when she started the area of when we're really going to start paying attention. They call it the shadow phase. Whatever. That was June 19th, meaning on June 19th, Venus was at 12 degrees of Leo. And that's how far back she will retrograde and end up there on September 3rd. That's the next chart. What we have here, July 22nd, just before the sun enters the sign of Leo, Venus is retrograde in Leo, and there she is. And at this point in time, she is not connected to Pluto. She's actually in a quincunx with Pluto, and I don't think I have that aspect in here. I tend to do, but sometimes I take it out when I'm working with absolute beginners. I really simplify the chart. And yes, there she is. Here's when Venus, and this is a toughie. This is not in the written blog because I'm reminded of these things when I see the charts, not necessarily when I'm writing. We have Pluto at 29. We have Venus at 28, and we have Neptune at 27. This is called a yod. Venus is at the apex of the yod. I talk about it in my daily astrology YouTube shorts. They're called shorts. And I talk about when Mars is there, and that is coming up. And here we have on July 22nd is when Venus makes the apex of this yod. This is a big, and this is difficult adjustments. So within a couple of days of July 22nd, so we just, 2 days on either side of this date, is when we might be feeling frustration around what we're trying to create, or frustration around a financial situation we might be in. These are all keywords for Leo and Venus. We could feel some frustration or feeling like we're stuck because we're just not feeling the fire and the passion in our lives right now. And it will feel that way for about 4 days. Now, again, we have to remember there are other things happening as well. So this isn't the only thing that we're going to feel, but this is the only thing I'm focusing on right now, okay? Because there's always a lot more going on. But just with this yod between Venus, Neptune, and Pluto is we feel like we don't have the control that we need or power that we need, or we feel like, well, I got so far and now I feel like I'm taking some steps back. That is okay. Take some breaths, take some time. And when you're feeling frustrated like that, we don't have to push. It's just like, whenever I have conversations with people, this is always this way. This is everybody experiences this. When all of a sudden you want to tell somebody something, and now your moment is here to talk, and it just slips your mind, like it's on the tip of your tongue and you can't remember. And the best way to get that back is to just forget about it. And then I like to do that. It's like, I'll shut it out later. I'll just, in the middle of a conversation, I'm going to interrupt somebody and I'm just going to shout it out and let you know. It's that we want to feel, I want you to feel that if you're feeling frustrated around July 22nd, as Venus is stationing to go retrograde, it's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay not to move. There's so much. Look at how much is at the very end of the zodiac right there. This means that even the nodes are at the end. There's so much, and even the moon is at the end. And geez, Louise, look at this. This is what happens when I start looking at charts and not just writing the forecast. 6 things between 27 and 29 degrees means there's a lot of things that need to be released and let go. And even if you don't know what they are, just let go anyways, and just hit the pause button. This is a Saturday. So that's what I want you to do. And that's what I feel when it comes to the energy of what that beginning of that retrograde is like. Okay. So now, I talk too fast. Sorry. Venus retrogrades only in a specific sign every 8 years. And so let me make sure I'm still sharing the right screen. Yes, very good. And so the last time Venus was retrograde in Leo, now she started to retrograde super early in Virgo, but mainly Leo. So I want you to go back to like July 25th, 2015. Yes, through September 5th, 2015. That is when Venus was retrograde. It spent just a couple days at 0 Virgo, and the rest of the time it was in Leo. All right. So it went to 14 Leo up to like, I think 1 degree of Virgo, and then it went back again and then forward again. But in this July 25th to July 25th, 2015 through September 5th, 2015, Venus was retrograde in Leo. That was the last time it was there. You need to go back and pay attention to what was happening then, if you can recall. Now, if you can recall, I have a friend who emailed me after I posted this on the blog, and she said, oh, that's when me and my guy got together. That was lovely. And that's when I was out making, that's when he and I, we got together, and then we went and made these beautiful labyrinths at a friend's house, a local friend's house. It's a double, it's a masculine and feminine labyrinth. They're gorgeous. They're in Somersworth, New Hampshire. And that's what she was doing. So it was a beautiful memory. He passed a few months ago. Bless her heart. I'm sure her Leo heart, the Leo energy of this is got to be feeling really strong. But she has such a beautiful memory about what was going on and how they were being creative and were falling in love and all those beautiful things. And some people may have experienced some difficult things. I'm not saying that it's going to be exactly like last time, but if a relationship focus was happening back then you will have some form of relationship focus now. If another Venus thing is if you had a financial situation going on at that time in 2015, then right now you will have a focus on what you value, what is important financially. Okay? No fear. We're not to respond to these activities through fear. It's important that we just look at what was going on and this time around, gain a deeper understanding. That's what retrogrades are about. Going within, spending time revising, revisiting, and, just getting a deeper understanding about what was going on. Okay. It helps us to do that. So retrograde Leo, Venus retrograde in Leo, we have to reconsider the personal cycle we're in, the creative pursuits that we're currently involved in. And I know I keep saying a lot of different things. It's relationships. It's where we're creative. It's where we're passionate. It's, how we present ourselves to the world. And we're going to be reevaluating that during the Venus retrograde. That's what we get to do. Yeah. It gives us a chance to slow down. The world is crazy. So who doesn't want a chance to slow down and reflect, So here's a couple questions that I also ask. It's on the blog. What activities or hobbies make you feel most alive and passionate? I can stop this sharing the screen. I'm going to share a couple more videos though, so stay with me. So what activities or hobbies make you feel alive and passionate? You can reconsider those things right now. I have another client that is, she's in a very creative, mundane career, mundane meaning not metaphysical, but she's also loving energy work and has a lot of training, like up to master training in certain type of energy healing. She wants to phase over to that. And I think that's terrific. And it's an opportunity to do that. I wouldn't jump into it during the Venus retrograde period. Anybody, I wouldn't initiate new of any of the things I've already listed. New relationships. You can take things slow, but I wouldn't jump, into the deep end immediately in any of the categories that resonate with you during the retrograde. But it does give us an opportunity to say, well, am I really passionate about this? Is this what I want to do? Do I want to do this? Does this make me feel happy? Does this, make me feel alive? Am I still passionate about this? Those are questions we would have, right? So what areas of life do you want to express yourself more fully? We can be considering those things during Venus retrograde. What relationships or romantic experiences do I desire to cultivate or to deepen or to release and let go so we can move on? I just read about a beautiful couple on just somebody I follow on social media. Beautiful man. And he and his partner are, after 7 years, are consciously separating, and they will get divorced. But they're doing it in a beautiful and a deep way. And that is perfection for Venus retrograde in the sign of Leo. Doesn't mean everybody will do that. It's just an example. Okay. So how can I incorporate more creativity and self-expression in my daily life? Because sometimes life can just be work, home, work, home, work, home, work, home. And we don't find time or even thrive because we're not passionate about anything. This is an opportunity. It's retrograde for quite a few weeks. How many weeks is that? Oh, it's about 42 days. That much I know. So that's, about 6 weeks or so. So you get an opportunity to maybe put that in there. Okay. And so I want you to do that. I want you to listen to that inner voice. I want you to uncover what your heart is desiring and align with those actions. Okay. Yeah. Now, there's more. I touch on the lunar nodes in, let me come back to you guys. That was all my notes. I do touch on the lunar nodes because, you know, Venus, the lunar Venus is the relationship sector, right? Here's Venus direct. But right around mid-July, go back one chart here. Right around mid-July, here it is. Yeah, the lunar nodes, they have, depends on what lunar node system you look at. I use mean nodes. You can see that it's up here in the top corner. The mean nodes shift on, mean meaning the approximate placement of the nodes, shifts on July 12th into the Aries Libra opposition. I am going to do a separate video on that. And the true node shifts on July 17th. So I don't care. I'm not splitting that hair today. But the nodes shift back into the Aries Libra. And since, even though Venus is in Leo, Venus is the ruler of Libra. So again, partnerships, relationships. Now let's go general, real general now. And I can see this as the way, oh my gosh, we're so divisive now. Things are so separate. And there's so many different things going on in the world that are dividing people. And this gives us an opportunity, especially for people who feel, people who can look beyond the differences and still have disagreements, but still have conversations, right? Even here, the sun is opposite Pluto. I didn't even capture that. That's July 22nd. So I just touched on, yeah, I'm just going to touch on that because that's another whole subject that I could take another hour and talk about, but not right now, different video. So, but it is giving, it's like ringing a bell. It's like relationships. Venus rules Libra, so relationships are important, and they shift again right around the time that she is stationary to retrograde. So I believe this is why we really honed mainly in on relationships in this forecast, even though Venus is still about what am I passionate about, where am I creative, how do I make my money, finances, don't overextend myself. The last time she was retrograde, she was conjunct Jupiter. So that could have been a big financial situation 8 years ago. For some people, that is coming back now, but Jupiter's not with it. So that's good. I know. There is always so much. So let me stay really honed in now. Let's come back on to Venus is stationary. And this is the date that Venus is stationary, September 3rd. Here she is at 12 degrees. She squares Jupiter. It's just a little, yeah, it's not too wide. Yeah, and even Jupiter's stationary on that day too. See? So much to talk about. And so within a couple of days of that station, that September 3rd station, I'm grabbing my my Llewellyn book. You guys, you know, I love that. And I always work with it. Yeah, Venus goes direct on September 3rd at 9:20 p.m. And Jupiter goes retrograde on September 4th at 10:10 a.m. That's Eastern time, by the way. And so, yeah, they're both stationary. So this leans towards, we start off with it all about the relationships, creativity, etc. At the end of Venus's retrograde and the beginning of Jupiter's retrograde on the same, within less than 24 hours, they're square. This is a financial situation right here. Venus in Leo, stationary, because Leo represents, you know, us overextending ourselves or taking being risky with our money. We do not want to be risky with our money. We still have Uranus and Taurus. You got to, you know, safe bets all the time. And which doesn't exist except the mattress, right? I don't know. Venus square Jupiter, and Venus in Taurus, that's finances. Venus rules Taurus. It's just like, wow, we've got something here that this is financial. And when I think of relationships and money, that is definitely a big issue for a lot of couples. So it could be you start off one way and end up having to figure out some financial situations. That's just a scenario. All right. And I don't know. Now, at the very end of this, finally, so here's September 3rd, Venus will go direct. We might be feeling a little tense again while she is stationary. But then by the time we get to October 8th, this is just when she ingresses into Virgo, and that shift and that long event of Venus in the sign of Leo is over. Okay, now the Venus star point. Let's do another screen share. The Venus star point. Oh, there's my notes. Oh, I'm trying to remember. It's like August. Okay, I'm going to animate this chart right here. That's the day that Venus, we'll go back to August. There we are. It's right in the middle part of August. It's when Venus is at 20 degrees. It's when Venus and the sun make their conjunction, August 12th. When Venus and the sun make their conjunction at 20 Leo. This is the beginning of her new, this is the Venus star point, that beautiful triangle that Venus makes when she is moving around the solar system with the sun. I actually have a picture of that. I could grab it for you. I'm going to keep that up there. See if I can find it really quick. And yeah, I should be able to here. And Venus, where is she? Oh, I don't know. But here, I'll show you this one. This is the pattern of Venus and the Earth. It might not let me open it up. There it is. You guys have seen this before. Let me make sure. Let's see what share I have up. I got this share up. There we go. It's that right there. You guys have seen that. So that is a really beautiful depiction. We pretend the sun is in the middle, and that's what that looks like. Yeah. All right. I'm going to stop my share. There we are. I'm back. Hi. All right. So I'm going to leave us with that. And that gives us an awful lot to work with. And again, go read the blog, DorothyMorganAstrologer.com/blog. And yeah, that's it for now. I would ask that you would share, and that you would comment, and that you would like this video. Give this channel a little boost, if you will. I would appreciate that. Thank you. That's of value to me. Thank you. Blessings, everybody. Namaste.